This podcast is brought to you by Reynolds and Reynolds, the industry leader in automotive technology. Learn how Spark AI, Reynolds' unified AI data layer, can help you unlock your full potential by visiting rey.com/spark-AI. That's REY.com/spark-AI.
Welcome to Daily Drive for Friday, January 23rd, 2026. I'm Kellen Walker in Las Vegas. Today on the show, Tesla finally launches robotaxi rides without safety monitors. VW is renaming its ID4 electric SUV, and Americans could see tax refunds jump by $1,000 or more this year. Plus, Automotive News retail F&I reporter John Hutter explains why cash deals are hurting dealers' bottom lines, but still present opportunities.
You're still going to make money on them. So hang in there, guys.
Let's run through all the news you need to know to keep up in the auto industry. Tesla has finally launched robotaxi rides without safety monitors in Austin. The first ride started on Thursday, years after CEO Elon Musk predicted over 1 million would be on the road by 2020. The move puts Tesla in the company of Waymo and Zoox in the fully autonomous ride-hailing space. Right now, it's just a handful of unsupervised vehicles mixed in with Tesla's broader Austin fleet that still has safety monitors. Ethan McAna, who tracks Tesla's robotaxis, estimates there are likely just 2 or 3 driverless cars operating in South Austin. Volkswagen is renaming its ID4 electric SUV as the ID Tiguan later this year, continuing its shift away from numeric EV branding. The move aims to give VW's electric lineup more emotional resonance with customers by reviving familiar model names. The ID Tiguan will debut with the ID4's facelift and more closely resemble the combustion engine Tiguan in design and positioning. And Americans could see tax refunds jump by $1,000 or more this year, and dealers need to move fast to capture that spending. Changes from last July's One Big Beautiful Bill Act, combined with how the government handled paycheck withholding, mean bigger refunds are hitting bank accounts starting this week. Some tax experts say to take full advantage, dealers should stock inventory under 30 grand, advertise now on social media, and think about how to help customers upgrade vehicles or add finance and insurance products with that extra cash in hand. And those are today's headlines. You can find more details on all those stories at autonews.com. Joining me now to talk more about Tesla's robotaxi launch is Automotive News reporter Lauren Seiliff, who covers Tesla for us at Automotive News. Lonnie, welcome back to Daily Drive.
It's great to be here.
So Lonnie, Tesla's finally launched driverless robotaxis in Austin, but it sounds like it's just a handful of vehicles. How significant is this? And could it be too little too late?
Okay, so it is significant because Elon Musk has been talking about this for about 10 years. Initially, it was your Teslas would be able to drive themselves. And then in 2019, he made a big prediction that over a million robotaxis would be on the road by 2020, right? And customers would be able to take their Teslas, put them into the robotaxi network, make money. It was a big deal. It didn't happen. And in June of last year, Tesla launched its robotaxi pilot in Austin, Texas. And Elon Musk said in July that robotaxis would cover half the U.S. population by the end of the year, by the end of 2025. That didn't happen. There were 0 robotaxis by the end of 2025. And so now, people are like, what's going on, man? Is this going to be another situation where he says something and it takes years to happen? And we are a week away from their earnings report, right? So take that in mind. And so Tesla had, you have to listen to people on the ground because Tesla doesn't tell you, but maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 cars that actually you could ride in the back seat. Nobody was in the front seat. So that's the first time that's ever happened. So it is a milestone. It is a big deal. There's, some reports and there's skepticism around this, obviously, that they have what they call chase cars. In other words, you're riding in a robotaxi and the robotaxi is driving, but there are other Tesla employee cars around you. And what are they doing? And are they creating an extra layer of security? And is it like really like 100% fully autonomous, like a Waymo? But it's a big step symbolically.
Now, Lonnie, what are the biggest challenges ahead for scaling this up?
It's always going to be the software. The software is always going to be like a big part of this because they're using end-to-end AI, right? And so you've seen where Tesla has had like newer versions of the software on owner cars, and they post videos and stuff. And sometimes it's like fantastic, and then sometimes it makes like really weird mistakes. Somebody actually drove all the way across the country and documented it with video, in which they said they went all the way across the country with Tesla's self-driving owner software, and they never had to intervene. So that's a big deal. So it looks like the software is getting better. And then the hardware, Tesla is only using cameras, and they say that proudly. They're not using radar. They're not using LiDAR. And so there are people in the industry who say it's never going to work. There's going to be too many cases, rain, snow, sun in your eyes, darkness, shadows, in which the cameras are not going to be as good as having three sensors talking to each other and resolving, issues that are very complicated, edge cases. So we'll see.
Good stuff. Lonnie, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
You can read Lawrence Iliff's reporting on Tesla at autonews.com. Coming up next, Automotive News retail F&I reporter John Hutter explains why cash deals are hurting dealers' F&I profits, but why there's still opportunity to sell products to cash buyers. That's next on Daily Drive.
If you're an automotive supplier and you know your team is building the next big thing, prove it on the industry's biggest innovation stage. Automotive News is now accepting applications for the 2026 PACE program. PACE Awards recognize traditional and non-traditional suppliers worldwide for new product, process, and business model innovation, and entries must be innovations already commercialized through a sale to an automaker. Still pre-commercial but past the pilot stage? PACE Pilot recognizes post-pilot, pre-commercial innovations across automotive and future mobility, products, software, IT systems, and processes with the potential to revolutionize an automaker's business. All submissions are reviewed by an independent panel of judges, and MEMA is the exclusive lead sponsor. Ready to be recognized? Apply by February 9th at autonews.com.
When your AI tools are siloed, lost data, duplicate entries, and confusion are inevitable. Spark AI isn't another AI tool to manage. Instead, it's a unified AI data layer, changing the game by ensuring your solutions are making life easier and working at their highest capacity. Don't miss Spark at NADA. Watch Ray, our new AI assistant, bring everything together in one intuitive command center for smart, fast decision-making. Ray answers your questions at any time, providing instant messaging, insights, help videos, or live support. Instantly analyze your sales history and market trends, or generate a sales report with one prompt. You can even ask which cars to buy at auction today for the best return. Schedule an appointment at our booth for everything from a short demo to a full retail management system demonstration using our core AI products. Visit rayrey.com/NADA. That's REYREY.com/NADA.
Welcome back to Daily Drive. I'm Kellen Walker. Cash deals are on the rise, accounting for 19% of new vehicle sales in the third quarter. That's a problem for dealers, since the average cash deal generates just $461 in F&I gross profit, compared to nearly $2,000 on finance sales. But there's still opportunity. Our own John Hutter spoke with Automotive News senior retail editor Dan Shine about why cash deals are increasing, what products still sell to cash buyers, and how low interest rate incentives could change the picture. Here's that conversation.
John, thanks again for joining me on the F&I Friday edition of Daily Drive.
Hey, great to be here.
So let's jump right in. You've had an interesting story in autonews.com. I encourage all our dealer friends and F&I people to go out there and read it about some recent studies from Experian about all cash deals and how they are kind of on the rise. Tell us a little bit about what Experian found.
Yeah, well, I mean, Experian, tracks the percentages of loans and leases it sees out there, and it's kind of assumed that whatever's left over is cash deals, and the most recent one we're at kind of 19% were presumed cash deals. Now, there's going to be a few in there that Experian doesn't initially see, where it's a direct loan, the customer shows up with a check, and it doesn't. Experian doesn't realize that it was from like a credit union or something originally, but I mean but they've kind of told me it's really, you can attribute it to cash deals, and that's higher than last year, and it's higher on both new and used. So that, to me, that kind of data has been interesting just to see, because interest rates have started to drop. There was an initial like rush to cash, and it was assumed that consumers were freaking out because interest rates weren't as low as they've been over the last few years. But they're kind of hanging in there, and vehicles are more expensive. So that was kind of what got me intrigued to look at the issue.
Yeah. And what were some of the top reasons people gave for paying all cash? Besides that they had a big lump of cash in their pocket, they wanted to spend somewhere.
Right. Yeah, car gurus recently did a study last summer, and they, the biggest one that they found was not wanting to have a monthly payment, but that dropped, quite a bit, from 42% down to 31%. And they didn't have really a good reason for that, but that was kind of interesting. Interest rates were the other, another high reason. And then, other common ones were having an insurance settlement or having a trade-in, where it was cheap enough to cover the rest with cash.
Interesting. So what does this mean for dealerships, for F&I offices? I guess the common wisdom would be it's not good. If people pay in all cash, they typically don't buy anything, no extra products, and they kind of walk out the door. Is that kind of the case, or is there still opportunities there for the F&I office?
Right. Well, there's still opportunities, and that's what was kind of also interesting to me. Like the F&I, historically you don't like cash deals because there's no dealer reserve from arranging the financing, and it's harder to sell F&I products when there's no loan to help cover the cost of them for the customer. But it's not impossible. Stone Eagle's data shows that even on a cash deal, you can still average $461 in F&I gross profit per vehicle, which is, much lower. I mean, it's more than $1,000 lower than what you would get with a finance deal, but it's still, it's still something. I mean, you've still got like 20% of cash buyers are buying like, a service contract. There's still room. There's still an appetite out there to buy products. So it's going to be tough, but it's not, you're still going to make money on them.
Yeah.
Enough of the time that so hang in there, guys.
Are there certain products that if say I walk in and I buy a Kia Telluride all cash, that maybe I still might get my arm twisted, that maybe I'll get a couple of products? Is there things that are more popular than others?
Right. Yeah, exactly. During the third quarter, you still had 21% of cash buyers bought service contracts. So that was the most popular. Security items such as LoJack still showed up 15% of the time on cash deals, and paint and fabric made it 12% of the time. So, I mean, it's all over more than 1 in 10. I mean, it's 1 in 5 for the service contracts. So, it's tough, but it's not impossible. And, statistically, you are going to sell some stuff still.
Yeah. And I guess it makes sense that if there are incentives, automaker incentives, that will kind of bring down, people are maybe less likely to pay all cash if there's an incentive there, a 0% financing, 0.9% financing. What do they tell you about that?
Right. And yeah, that's the other one. And that was, the initial like spike in cash deals. What I was kind of told, and what I had kind of assumed is it was due to just auto loan interest rates in general. But what I hadn't really thought about enough at the time was that, auto incentives were probably still kind of low because of, it was still the inventory shortage. And at this point, they're still pretty low. I mean, and especially on like 0% financing and that kind of thing. I think Edmunds had some data recently for the fourth quarter where, it's only around like 3% or something like that of deals that's showing up as. So customers don't have that. That's the other thing I think that pushes consumers to, to finance a vehicle instead of pay cash. There's just not those low interest offers quite as commonly as there maybe were in the past.
Yeah. And I think they kind of the incentives picked up a little bit in December. And so maybe we'll see some of that. Again, this affordability crisis is not going anywhere anytime soon. And I think between dealers and automakers, they need to kind of figure out, how they can get more people into the showroom. And it's been tough the last year. So this is an interesting thing. John, great stuff, great insight. Tell folks, go out there and read it. Autonews.com about the all cash deals on the rise. Thanks for your time, John.
Thank you.
That's Daily Drive for today. I'm Kellen Walker. Thanks to Automotive News executive producer Jake Neer, as well as our own Lawrence Iliff, Dan Shine, and John Hutter for their reporting for today's podcast. You can get the latest news on Tesla's robotaxis, cash deal trends, VW's branding strategy, and everything happening in the auto industry at autonews.com. Come back over the weekend for our Weekend Drive edition of the show. Our own Larry Velaquette and Michael Martinez talk about the biggest news stories from the past week, including President Trump's about-face on new European tariffs related to Greenland and Lincoln's ambitious retail strategy overhaul.
If your plans are changing by the day or by the hour because of the changing tune of this administration, you're not doing it right.
We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think of the show and the topics we covered today. Send us an email at dailydrive@autonews.com or leave us a voicemail at 313-444-2774. And if you enjoy the podcast, remember to like, leave a review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.